for the very latest news from Thailand. This is the Fabulous Pattaya Media Group. If you could like and subscribe, well, that would be amazing. Thank you so much.
The death toll from Sunday's devastating Bangkok nightclub fire has risen to 33, following the death of the band's lead singer, who was performing when the blaze broke out. Titiwat Din Kaukana, aged just 27, becomes the third member of the band to lose his life. Authorities confirmed the updated death toll yesterday, while sadly warning that it could rise further, with many victims still fighting for their lives in intensive care units across the capital. Investigators now believe the fire was most likely triggered by an electrical short circuit in a ceiling-mounted air conditioning unit. They say highly combustible soundproofing and decorative materials surrounding the stage ignited almost instantly, generating intense heat, dense smoke, and deadly toxic gases that rapidly engulfed the venue. Bangkok's police commissioner confirmed yesterday that most victims did not die from burns, but from inhaling poisonous gases. Post-mortem examinations have revealed significant levels of both carbon monoxide and cyanide. Police have so far been unable to interview the venue's owner, who remains in intensive care on a ventilator. However, investigators say he could eventually face charges, including reckless conduct causing death and injury, along with offences relating to unauthorised alterations made to the building. Prime Minister Anutin Charnvirakul has now ordered a comprehensive review of Thailand's entertainment venue laws and zoning regulations. In addition, every entertainment venue and major public building in the country is to undergo a fresh safety inspection within the next 30 days, as the government attempts to ensure such a tragedy is never repeated. There has also been a welcome development regarding the disappearance of 17-year-old Tong, the freelance sex worker whose disappearance from Pattaya attracted widespread attention over recent days. Police, who had been investigating her disappearance, have released no official update. However, we have received reliable confirmation that she has been found. She was found, however, not in Pattaya, but in Bangkok, where she is now receiving care. Exactly how she came to be there and who she was with has not yet been disclosed. The teenager became the focus of intense concern after friends reported she had disappeared following a meeting with a foreign man arranged through a dating application. Her disappearance quickly spread across Thai social media. Authorities are now concentrating on her welfare and protection. Investigators are also expected to examine how a 17-year-old was apparently able to advertise herself on adult dating websites for a considerable period. We understand she had been falsely claiming to be 20 years old, allowing her to avoid immediate suspicion. The pressure on Pattaya police had been particularly intense because the case followed so closely after the murder of another 17-year-old girl whose body was discovered inside a suitcase beside Railway Road. Sadly, another reminder that scam gangs continue finding ever more convincing ways to separate families from their savings. 2 university students have been rescued in Pathum Thani after staff noticed they had disappeared from their accommodation. Police eventually tracked their mobile phones to a resort where they had been persuaded to stay by members of a sophisticated scam network. The students had been convinced they had won prestigious overseas study scholarships, but first needed to demonstrate substantial funds in their bank accounts to qualify for student visas. Following instructions from the scammers, both students persuaded their parents to transfer large sums of money. By the time police located them, the pair had transferred around 900,000 baht. Investigators say the gang used forged documents bearing Thailand's national emblem and the apparent signatures of university executives to make the scheme appear entirely legitimate. Police are now tracing the money trail and gathering evidence in what they believe is another highly organized international fraud operation. Meanwhile, police continue investigating the disturbing case uncovered this week at a Muay Thai training camp in Rayong province, where staff are accused of exploiting young fighters for sexual purposes. Authorities have been keen to stress that this case is highly unusual and in no way reflects Thailand's Muay Thai community as a whole. The overwhelming majority of boxing camps operate as legitimate sporting academies, providing discipline, education, and opportunities for youngsters, many from difficult backgrounds. During the operation, police, working alongside international child protection organizations, rescued 15 boys aged between 13 and 16. Investigators say some had allegedly been coerced into sexual acts in exchange for funding for the gym, mobile phones, school uniforms, and financial support for their families. Police say many of the boys came from impoverished or fractured homes. In legitimate circumstances, Muay Thai provides a respected route away from crime, helping vulnerable youngsters develop confidence, discipline, and purpose. Authorities have now committed to finding safe accommodation and alternative training opportunities for the rescued boys, while the criminal investigation continues. Thailand appears to have found its very own Walter Mitty, a man who turned up wearing a military-style uniform and confidently approached the Prime Minister during his visit to the scene of Bangkok's devastating nightclub fire, is now facing criminal charges. The man, aptly nicknamed by his parents as Nut, is accused of impersonating a public official. After photographs of him appeared across numerous news outlets, accompanied by the question, "Who exactly is this man?" he decided to hand himself in. Previously, he had even given interviews to reporters while presenting himself as a government official, with police later alleging that some of the information he provided was completely false. During questioning, he admitted he was not a government officer at all, but a volunteer attached to a civilian volunteer corps. He explained that after hearing about the tragedy through a line messaging group, he travelled to the scene, in his words, simply to help those affected. He's no stranger to public life either, having once stood in the Bangkok Metropolitan Council elections, although the electorate wasn't entirely convinced, seeing him gain just 572 votes. Police later released him on bail after questioning, together with what can only be described as some rather straightforward advice: not to appear in public wearing uniforms that he hasn't actually earned the right to wear. For today, Friday, and the weekend, expect plenty of cloud with generally overcast conditions, keeping temperatures slightly lower than we've seen recently. Highs of around 33 degrees, overnight lows of 27, and although there will be sunny intervals, the chance of showers remains with us throughout the weekend.
Local and national news today from fabulous Pattaya Media Group. And to get a notification every time we release another bulletin or program, like and subscribe to our channel, Fabulous Pattaya Media Group, by using the link below.